Alright, so today we're going to show you how to winterize the Toro Greensmaster Flex 21. It's also sort of the same as the Greensmaster 1000, except the reels come off a little bit different. This is the machine. You can see it's the Greensmaster Flex 21. So what you want to do is, if you're changing the oil, take the bucket off. Your oil bolt is going to be back in there, and the only way really to get to that is to take this reel off. And you want to take this reel off anyway, probably because you're going to grind this. It's the end of the season, so we're going to start by taking off. You got two pivot points here with these brackets. You got a bolt there, and then you're going to have a bolt there and a bolt there. And then this is going to drop off, and this whole machine is going to want to fall backwards on you. So be very careful. Make sure you have somebody holding it, such as Pete right there. And yeah, when these slide out, you'll be able to pull your reel out, and the machine is going to fall. So have somebody hold it, and then we're going to take a jack and lower it down once that reel's out onto the jack, and drain our oil and put the pan underneath. Two. Now to get to the back ones, you're gonna need to do it by hand. You're gonna have to get a socket in there. There's no room for the air gun. All right, so you want to put your socket in the back here, and this is a knuckle buster point because these are tight. And we're gonna pull up on it, and we got it. All right, we got that one off. Now you got another one way back there. And same thing. Watch your knuckles on this one. Pull up. Yep, we got it. All right, so all of our... Tell me what you're doing. Oh, no problem. All of our bolts are loose here. So now, this is why you want somebody else, because as soon as you pull these out, one, watch your fingers. This is a pinching point. But this reel is going to come loose from here, and this whole machine is going to fall backwards. But Pete's holding it, but I'm going to show you. So Pete, yeah, take a little pressure off of it, Pete, lean back. So he's gonna wiggle the machine so that I'm able to slide these out of here. Let's try this one first. All right, there's one, okay? There's one pin out. Now you can see it's detached from the machine. All right, jiggle this side, Pete. All right, and there's the second one. Now look, see? That machine wants to go right back because all your weight was in this reel. Up. We missed that part. So this shaft here, come back up, Pete. You got this shaft here. Well, that was slid inside of there. All right, so when you disconnect it, this shaft right here just slides out of this. And that will disconnect your reel there from the unit. Now you're gonna need a jack because there's no weight on this machine. Put your back stand down there. Take a little jack like this, set her there, okay, lower it down. Let it drop. Go ahead, right there. All right, now your machine's level. So now you can see the bolt right here. You'll be able to get to it now with the jack up. Put your oil pan underneath. All right, so that bolt, it's gonna be a 9/16. And where are we at here, Pete? Oh, there we are, right there. I can come up from the bottom of the machine, and now I can grab it. See all the clearance I got now with that reel out? Now I can grab it and pull. And again, watch your knuckles, because that one, yeah, it's loose. That one hurt. All right, it's loose, and the rest you can kind of just do with your finger once you get it loose. It's a little tight spot in there. Well, it's hard to get the camera in there, but I'm backing that out by finger now, and the rest, I move the jack out of the way. There we go. The rest is self-explanatory. Once I back that nut out, the oil is going to fall in the pan. And if you don't know what to do after that, then you probably shouldn't be a mechanic. But just let the oil drain. make sure you put the plug back in, and then these will take a half a quart of oil, almost exactly a half a quart, to fill them back up. So pull that out. Yeah, keep that light on there. All right, and there goes our oil. Get the light on there, Pete. And there's our oil coming out. All right. Set your bolt in a safe spot, right next to the pan, and let that drain for a while. And don't forget with your reel here, because these are probably going to be apart for a while if you're working on them, you don't misplace these brackets, because you're going to have to order these direct from the dealer. You're not going to find them on Amazon anywhere, and keep your bolts with them. So what you probably should do is just put them back on the machine where you got them, and put the nuts back in them. This way they stay with the unit. Alright, well, we got the reel up on the machine here. Just one thing to point out, this thing is swinging back and forth. So yeah, see Pete's fingers there? If you put them right there and you got somebody helping you, your fingers are getting crushed right there. So pull this all the way back and slide your hand down past the pinch point right there. Yeah, right there. So it's not being pinched right against that bolt. So keep that in mind when you're lifting these up, that these are moving, and I don't want somebody to lose a finger right here. So instead of putting it here, lift down here away from that. Alright, so basically what you want to do, this is a express dual grinder. This is an older one, but a lot of them kind of work the same way. Your roller is going to slide up onto these two grooves right here in the front. That's where it's going to rest. Now you can adjust these forward or backward, because where we're going to connect on this thing is right here. There's a bolt in there, and that's what's going to spin the reel. So that bolt hole needs to line up. Here's our shaft here. Needs to line up with this when we pull that forward. If it doesn't line up, you're either going to have to adjust these plates, sliding them forward or backwards, or this motor itself. There's some bolts here. This one here will allow this machine to slide this way, and then you have another one back here which will allow it to slide back and forth to help you line up with that when we pull the reel forward. And I think we can probably go ahead and pull it forward. But actually, first thing, see what Pete's doing, you remove the cover on the side here. Remove that plastic cover. That'll expose the bolt that you're going to connect this socket to. It's just one little bolt, or one little nut in the center that holds it on. All right. Next thing you got to do is take the bed knife off of this. You can't grind this with the bed knife on. You're going to have a nut here, and you got one right there, and then you got one on each side there. So you want to loosen up that jam nut first, and then go to the one on the outer side and break that free there. And there's another one on the other side here. Same thing, you loosen up the jam nut first. And what is that, 9/16? 11/16? Alright, so 11/16.
Then a half.
And then a 1/2 inch. So you remove them two, and those top two I told you about. And then you want to lift the reel up, and that bed knife will pull right out the bottom. So when you're taking these off, keep note of the spacers there. This is very important. You're going to have a metal one, and then you're going to have a plastic one, the white one, on the inside. That white one is very, very important. Do not lose that, and take note of the order. Okay? You got the bolt, you got a metal washer. I'm going to come to this angle. So you got your actual bolt head here, then the metal washer, then the plastic. Same thing on the other side. You can't see them, just to join together on the other side. Now, when we pull this bed knife off, there's another white plastic one that's going to be on the inside in here that's going to drop out. Do not lose that. You need them in there. They are engineered to be there. Don't lose them. You'll never get this thing cutting right. Alright, so we flip it up. As you can see, the bed knife separated, and you see the washers fell right on the ground. Just like I said they would, they're gonna fall right out. Now this bed knife should, oh yeah, I'll let you pull that, Pete. A little bit of wiggle here and there, should come right out. And that's it. To take the bed knives off, you're gonna need a special tool from R&R, which we're not gonna cover that now. Let me come over here. But you're gonna have, on this particular machine, you got 13 of these screws. They look like flatheads, but I assure you, if you try to use a flathead, you're not gonna get them out. You're gonna break these. So you wanna get a special tool from R&R. I'll try to put it in the link below. And you're gonna need an impact to take them off. But we're not doing that now.
These are the two.
Yep.
Put them back.
Yeah,
them in the
put
bed knife
your,
so you don't lose it.
It's like you did there. Put your washers back on there and screw them into the bed knife. So when you store it, you're not losing them. That's going to get a new bed knife on it, and it's going to have to get sharpened. So we're not going to cover that in the tutorial. This is basically going to be setting this up on the grinder and sharpening the blade now. One more key point I want to point out before you go through the process of even grinding this reel. You want to check that the reel has no play in it, and I'll show you what I mean. Before you even sharpen it, if this is banging around here and you have play in it, which this one seems pretty tight, so you want to pull forward and pull side to side. Make sure there's no play in this reel. Otherwise, that's defeating the purpose of putting that on the grinder. Because once you put that on the grinder and those bearings are loose, that reel's just going to go up and down. You're not even going to get an even sharpen on this thing. Okay, so if this thing is loose at all in any way, you're going to need to go ahead, and that's a totally different video that I have up already, and replace these bearings on each side before you even sharpen it. But this reel's tight. I got no play in it, so Pete's going to pull that reel up onto those two little grooves in the front there. See the grooves there? And they're going to fall right in there. If it doesn't seat down, that means that your reel is resting on the stone, which we're still clear there we're not. All right, so are you seated good there, Pete?
I think that's in, yep.
All right, so he's seated pretty good there. Now, what you want to make sure is that, again, this socket is gonna line up with this nut here. All right, so there we go, right there, that looks pretty good.
They're gonna be tightened.
All right, now on this machine, this rod here, it's got a bevel to it and it's got a flat top. You can see here, it's beveled down here and it's got a flat top. You want the flat top up because there's a keyway there that he just tightened. A locking nut, I mean, right there, locking pin. You're gonna tighten that down onto this flat surface here, and that keeps this from sliding back and forth. All right, so you're on there. Next thing we're gonna do, back here it has this brake here. Now, sometimes it's not gonna hit your machine, so he's got a 2x4. Just rest the 2x4 against that back roller, and then you come up here, step on that, that locks it in. Just like that, that's perfect. Now you want to lock your front roller in. So
You gotta tighten these yet.
we didn't tighten this?
No.
Oh, okay. We got to retighten those because this plate is adjustable, and you're able to move that if need be. If your machine is not lining up here, again, you can move those plates so that you can slide this reel forward and backwards if you have to. Now, you got these front clamps here. You want to clamp down on the front roller. Keep this thing from bouncing around. Just like that. Now everything is secure. That reel is tight. The back brace is on. The front rollers are secure. This is tight. Now we're going to go down to adjusting all your settings down here. First thing you want to do is make sure that that stone under there is not hitting the reel. You don't want to turn this thing on and have that thing start banging around already. So this center dial, let me show them. This center dial here, you might have to unlock it to move it. All right, but that's gonna move this back and forth. Go ahead, Pete. And then you can kind of look underneath and make sure you're not making any contact as that's moving back and forth. Because you want to start with no contact. So if you look here, adjust your blade. I'm just missing that stone. And that's what you want. Then you move, just take note of how far it is from the stone and slide that to the other side. And make sure you got about the same height from the blade to the stone on that side. But you don't want it hitting just yet. All right, so now you have these markers here will tell you how far you're gonna allow that to go down. When it hits this, it's gonna start backtracking.
That one.
Now we wanna go a little bit past the reel. So he's gonna loosen that up, push it down a little bit. All right, and now he's able to just pass the reel with the stone, which is good. And you can do the same thing on the other side. At the very end, after you're done sliding this around, make sure you turn this knob to tighten it, because that's going to allow this, when you turn the machine on, to go back and forth. If this is loose and you turn that traverse on up there, you're going to say, why isn't the wheel going back and forth with the grinding gear? Because this isn't locked. Lock that in. Now, the machine should be ready to grind, and there shouldn't be any contact when you first start it. When he starts this, if anything happens at all, keep your hand on this the whole time when this thing makes its first couple passes, because you don't know if a nut fell in there or a bolt or whatever. Just keep your hand on the master stop in case you have to stop. So, just like that. All right, so we're gonna start the cylinder and the grinding wheel. All right, now, yeah, hit that. All right, so that will start. Just make sure nothing's bouncing around. Everything seems okay. Now, before we hit the traverse, you should be okay because we slid it back and forth and there was no contact. So we can go ahead and hit the traverse. All right, now that will start moving. And you shouldn't have any contact at all, because we didn't want any at first. We want to be able to adjust this manually. All right, now you can see how this actually works here. When it hits here, it will automatically go back. It's gonna hit there, and it's gonna go back. All right, now, these things, and every machine might be different. You wanna turn these ever so slightly until you start hearing friction on that blade. What these do is they're raising up that grinding stone closer to the reel. And you can see he's doing both at the same time in the same measurements. You're doing about a ½ inch at a time until you hear contact. And as soon as you hear contact, don't adjust anymore. All right, there we go. There's our first contact. You hear it? It's very sporadic. A little bit solider on that end. Coming back. Pay attention to the noise and the spark. Alright, so it's just touching over here, and it's touching more on that end over there. Don't adjust anything yet. Oh, okay. Alright, so you have the same noise all the way across, a little bit tighter there. But you're almost, that's telling you you're pretty much level. So you can go ahead and crank these down some more. At the same time, see if I can get a better angle here. Alright, see the spark? We're in the back now. So that's when you want a constant spark all the way across. It's a little bit sporadic right there. That might be an imperfection in the reel. And a little bit there. So this side could be a little bit higher. You might want to turn that to lower just that side a little bit. We don't want that spark going in and out. We want a solid spark. So far, so good. The first pass, you're pretty much taking rust off, dirt off. You're not really grinding yet. Let it go about 2 or 3 minutes. Just get the reel a little bit cleaned up. Take out any burrs or imperfections. And then, now that you have it pretty level, you're gonna adjust these both at the same time and dig in a little bit deeper. Bring that stone up a little bit more. All right, so this has been grinding for about a good 3 or 4 minutes. Just getting all the burrs out, any imperfections, all the surface rust. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna dig in a little deeper, all right? That handle, we wanna turn them at the same time because our grinding wheel is level now. So you wanna turn them just a very little bit. That's it. I turned them about a 1/2 inch on each side, and you can hear the noise change. Take a look. Now we're back. We got much better spark now. Now we're grinding. You want to pay attention to the spark. Spark on the stone, it should be all the way across. You want it kind of like that. You want that even spark. Alright, so what you want to do now, you want to stop the machine. Just hit the master stop button. Wait till everything is completely done rolling. Alright, you want to feel your blade. Now, you should feel little burrs on this. And that's telling you that it's sharp. Alright, which I do have. I have burrs on here all the way across. Be very careful because this can get really sharp. Alright, well that's it. Showed you the ins and outs of the dual grinder. Hopefully this tutorial helped. And just remember, don't wear anything with really long strings hanging from a hoodie. No necklaces, jewelry, nothing like that. Because if it gets stuck in that reel, it's gonna either break your jewelry or mess you up pretty bad, if not kill you. All right, we'll see you next time.